You just pulled the trigger. The man on the ground is your grandfather. He is 23 years old. He has not met your grandmother yet. He has not had children yet, which means your father was never born, which means you were never born, which means you were never here to pull the trigger. So who fired the gun? This is called the grandfather paradox, and the terrifying part is not the loop, it is what the loop reveals about time itself. Here is how you think time works. You were born, you grow up, you spend years studying physics, you build a time machine, you step inside, dial the year to 1950, and you land. The air smells different, the cars are different, but the timeline you came from is still there, still behind you, still waiting for you to come back. Your childhood still happened, your parents still met, the machine still got built. Everything is fine. This feels obvious. It feels like the only way time could work. Past on the left, future on the right, you moving through it like walking down a hallway. One direction, one sequence, cause, then effect, always in that order. But the moment you step out of that machine in 1950, you have done something the universe has no instructions for. You have taken an effect and placed it before its cause. You exist in 1950, but the reason you exist, your birth, your childhood, the decades of research that built the machine, none of that has happened yet. From the perspective of 1950, there is no explanation for your presence. You have no origin. You have no cause. You are an effect without a cause. You are standing in a place where, according to every event that has occurred so far, you cannot be. And most people stop here. They say, well, that is the paradox, and they move on to the next thought experiment. But the paradox has not even started yet. In 1943, the science fiction writer René Barjavel published a novel called Le Voyageur Imprudent, which translates to The Imprudent Traveler. In it, a man travels back in time and accidentally prevents his own ancestor from being born. It was the first time anyone had formally described this loop in fiction, but the idea had been haunting physicists for decades before that, lurking in the background of every conversation about Einstein's equations that technically permit closed time-like curves, which are paths through space-time that loop back on themselves. And here's the first thing most people get wrong. The paradox has nothing to do with murder. It has nothing to do with grandfathers. You do not need to kill anyone. All you need to do is change anything. Step on a butterfly, move a chair, breathe. The moment you exhale in 1950, you have introduced air molecules into positions they were not in before. You have changed the initial conditions of the universe from that point forward. And in a chaotic system, which our universe absolutely is, microscopic changes cascade into macroscopic ones. This is not speculation. This is the mathematical foundation of chaos theory. Tiny shifts in starting conditions produce wildly different outcomes. The butterfly you stepped on could have been eaten by a bird. That bird could have been spotted by your grandmother on a walk through the park. That walk could have been the day she met your grandfather. They could have locked eyes because she stopped to watch that bird. No butterfly, no bird, no walk, no meeting, no marriage, no children, no you. The murder version is dramatic. It makes a good movie. But the real paradox is quieter and far worse. You do not need to destroy your past. You just need to touch it. Now, there is a way out. Physicists have found it, but the exit is stranger than the trap. Here is where your brain goes wrong. You are imagining this as a sequence. First, you go back. Then you kill him. Then you are not born. Then you cannot go back. Then he is alive again. And you're picturing it like dominoes falling, one after another in a line. But that's the assumption that is wrong. You are applying first, then, therefore logic to a situation where first no longer exists. When time loops back on itself, there is no first event. There is no starting domino. The entire loop exists simultaneously. Your grandfather is dead and alive. You are born and not born, not one after the other, not flickering back and forth, both at once, always. The paradox is not a contradiction. It's your brain forcing a linear sequence onto a circle. And here's the thing. The universe already does this, right now, beneath every atom in your body. Subatomic particles exist in multiple states, simultaneously. An electron does not orbit in one place until you measure it. It exists in every possible position at once. This is called quantum superposition. It's not a metaphor. It's not a thought experiment. It's not something that only matters inside a laboratory. It's the physical mechanism that makes chemistry work, that allows the sun to fuse hydrogen, that makes transistors possible in the phone you might be watching this on right now. Superposition is not exotic, it's the default state of reality at the smallest scales. Things only become definite when they're observed. Before that, every possibility exists at the same time. So the question becomes, could an entire timeline exist in superposition? In 2020, the physicist Herman Tobar and his supervisor Fabio Costa at the University of Queensland published a mathematical proof that closed time-like curves, actual time loops, are mathematically self-consistent. Their work showed that if you model a time loop as a system, the events inside it don't spiral into contradiction. They settle into a fixed point, a stable state where the paradox resolves itself, not by magic, but by mathematics. Think of it like this. You go back, you try to kill your grandfather, but something prevents it. Not destiny, not some cosmic force watching over the timeline, just the mathematics of the loop itself. The universe doesn't allow the inconsistency because the loop was never inconsistent in the first place. It was always a stable circle. The events inside it were always going to land exactly where they needed to land. Your grandfather lives, you are born, you go back, and the loop holds. But here's where it inverts. If closed time-like curves are self-consistent, if every paradox resolves into a stable loop, then time travel does not destroy causality, it enforces it. The loop does not break the rules, it is the rule. Causality is not threatened by the loop, causality is the loop. You thought the paradox meant time travel was impossible, but the math says the opposite. If time travel exists, paradoxes cannot exist. The universe will not let them form. The grandfather paradox doesn't prove time travel cannot happen. It proves that if it can happen, you never had free will inside the loop. So where does that leave us? 3 possible answers, none of them comfortable. Resolution 1 is the many worlds interpretation. When you go back and kill your grandfather, you don't change your timeline. You create a new one, a branching universe where he's dead and you were never born, but your original timeline still continues, untouched. In this version, there is no paradox at all, because you are not rewriting history, you are forking it. You have escaped the paradox by never being in one. The loop never closed, but the cost is that you can never go home. The timeline you came from still exists, and you are no longer in it. Resolution 2 is the self-consistency principle, also known as the Novikov conjecture. You can go back, you can try to change things, but the events in the loop will always conspire to prevent the paradox from forming. The gun jams, you miss, you hesitate at the last second, someone bumps your arm. The universe bends around the inconsistency like water flowing past a rock. Every path you take leads back to the same outcome. You never had the freedom to create the paradox in the first place. Resolution 3 is that time travel into the past is simply impossible. Not because of engineering, not because we haven't figured it out yet, because the laws of physics will not permit closed time-like curves to form. Stephen Hawking called this the chronology protection conjecture, the idea that the universe actively prevents time travel from occurring. In this version, the paradox is the universe's proof of its own rule, a logical guardrail baked into the fabric of reality itself. But notice something, every resolution, every single one takes away the same thing. In the many worlds version, your choices don't change anything that matters to you. You just create a copy you'll never see. In the self-consistency version, your choices were never real. They were always going to lead exactly where the loop needed them to lead. In the impossibility version, the choice was never available in the beginning. 3 answers, 3 different reasons, the same conclusion. The grandfather paradox is not really about time travel. It never was. It's about whether the future was ever yours to change.